A hill that I will absolutely die on as someone who has worked in the birth space for 7 years is that I do not care what kind of birth you have. If you're wondering, Sarah, why are you getting ready in your car? The answer would be, I'm kind of having a mentee bee. I'm not gonna lie to you. Everybody has those days, and I'm having one. And my car is my safe space. I love my family. I love them. I need a minute. A hill that I will absolutely die on as someone who has worked in the birth space for 7 years is that I do not care what kind of birth you have. I do not care if you want a C-section. I do not care if you want a home birth. I do not care if you want an epidural. I do not care if you want to do everything unmedicated. I do not care if you want to breastfeed or formula feed. I do not care if you want to give certain medications or no medications. I do not care if you want to push on your back. I do not care if you want to push in the water. I do not care if you want to push literally hanging upside down by your toes, except I don't know how that would work and I want you to be comfortable. I don't care. I don't care how you do things. What I do care about is how you got there. How did you arrive to that decision? That is where I care deeply, okay? Let's see if I can prop this up. Ooh, cutesy. It's like, oh my God. That was not as cutesy as I thought. This is my child's sleep sack. It's all right. It needs to be washed anyways. Okay. Oh my God, blinding. Perfection. I care about how you got to that decision. I care that you have been given informed consent. Informed consent is what? It is risks, it is benefits, it is pros, it is cons, it is here. This is the benefit of this decision. This is the possible negativity of this decision. This is what we're working with. This is evidence-based, non-biased information. There is no coercion or pressure. It is just, here's the facts. Do with that what you will. I care that your autonomy has been trusted, that whatever decision you get to from that informed consent is respected. Even if it's the opposite of what I would do. I care that with that information that you were given, that evidence-based information, that you were trusted. I care that your body was trusted, that your decisions were trusted, that your mind, that your soul was trusted. I care that you were listened to, that you were advocated for, that you felt supported. I care that you felt safe, that you felt like your nervous system was safe, like your body was safe, like your soul was safe. I care that I was not playing an active part in triggering you or re-traumatizing you or causing any trauma for you. Birth can be traumatic, pregnancy can be traumatic, but I care that I was not an active participant in that trauma. I care that you feel like your body, your autonomy, your decisions, your soul, your voice was trusted and listened to. For me, my pregnancy and my labor and birth, I did exactly what I felt was best for me. I do not need that to look exactly like what it looks like for you. I don't need you to make 100% of the same decisions that I made for me to be okay with it. I don't need to understand or agree with you 100% of the time. Because at the end of the day, that's not my job. My job as someone who works in birth is to inform, to guide, to educate, to be a lighthouse that stands at the edge of the ocean that you swim in during pregnancy, during labor, during the birthing process. And I care that I'm that beacon of light, of support, of hope, of guidance, of presence, of information that can be there for you as you need it. When you're in pregnancy, when you're in the waters of pregnancy and birth, there's a lot of it that you have to swim on your own. You have to swim, you have to navigate, you have to ride the waves, you have to surf them, you have to go through it in a way that no one else can go through it for you or even with you. You just have to kind of, you know what I mean? Buoy it up. But as the lighthouse, my job is to help you find your way back to yourself, to your soul, to your baby, to your body, to your journey, to your path that is authentic to you. And if it's authentic to you, then it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be authentic to me or to anyone else. It might not make sense to anyone else. When I talked about how I was a labor and delivery nurse who decided to give birth at home, do you know how much that did not make sense to a lot of people? For the crunchy community, I'm not crunchy enough. For the non-crunchy community, I'm way too crunchy. It's hard. And guess what? We're all like that. We are all so nuanced. We all have different traumas and lives and journeys and personalities and experiences and things that we're supposed to learn from our pregnancy, from our labor, that if we are doing it authentically, we're gonna learn. But because we're all so different, it's gonna be really hard for things to make 100% sense to anyone except you. And that is why the autonomy, the voice, the decision maker at the end of the day needs to be the human being that is giving birth, no one else. Because so long as someone else is around you saying, these are the decisions that I would make. If you were my wife, I would do this. If you were my sister, I would do this. If you were my patient, if you were my this, if you were that, if it were me, if it were, no. As long as you have someone around you saying that, oh, I think you should do this. Oh, I did this. Oh, this is this. Oh, blah. Are you really being encouraged to make the decisions that are best for you, or are you being steered in a certain direction? And that, my friends, is the root of the issue that I have with the system when it comes to giving birth. There is one right way to do it. There is one way that it's supposed to look. There's a timeline. There's a standard. There's very little wiggle room for the own individual's journey. And that is what hurts my heart and my soul so much, because when you actually go on that journey and you experience all that is, it is a life-changing event. It is a canon event. Like, girl, I went through every little shit that I have been through in my life during my labor. I processed it all. Not saying I got through it all, but I processed it all. Like, any little issue, any little fear, any little whatever, she came up and I had to deal with that. And I was given the space to do that. And I'm so grateful that I was given the space to do that, because my labor and my birth ended up being a deeply spiritual experience for me that helped me come out on the other side a completely new girly pop. Like, I'm still me, but like, I am me. You know what I mean? I am way more confident and courageous. I speak my mind way more than I ever used to. I trust myself. I trust my body in ways that I never used to. And as I'm getting through this postpartum chapter, I'm also trusting my decisions. I'm trusting my baby. And I am learning how to listen to those instincts and those decisions, even when Reddit tells me it's the wrong idea, even if it's not what my mom did, even if it's not what my friends did, my coworkers did, whatever, it's okay. Because I learned in my labor to trust myself, even though things didn't necessarily look like they were supposed to, textbook-wise, the entire time. I was still trusted. My decisions were trusted. My body was trusted. My voice was trusted. And I've seen the magic that that has done for my life and for my journey in motherhood. And so that is what I want to provide to others, and what I think every single human being in the world deserves ever, period, let alone going through something like giving birth. One of the things that radicalized me the most when I was still a labor and delivery nurse in the hospital was I did a trauma-informed yoga teacher training. And in it, we learned all about the nervous system, we learned about trauma, how the body holds trauma, and how trauma is perceived. Trauma is so incredibly subjective. Like, when you're leading yoga or meditation, for example, you have to understand that like a certain essential oil could be very relaxing for someone, or it could remind someone of the worst day of their lives. Silence can be extremely relaxing or extremely triggering. Same with darkness, the certain temperature of the room, words that you say, music that you play. You never know how it is going to impact someone. And so being able to look around the room and look at people and understand, okay, their nervous systems are doing this, and I need to respond by doing this. Being open and not taking things personally if you end up triggering someone, and navigating that accordingly. Helping people to have a regulated nervous system is freaking art. It is art. And it takes understanding that we are all different, and that we all have different triggers and pasts and traumas and fears. And to navigate them, the person needs to be empowered and what's the word? Encouraged to face it in the way that is true to them. Like, you can't do it for them. So from that experience, what I took away for birth is just that I need to be very aware that everything I say, Everything I do, the words that I use, the music that I play, the essential oils that I use, the settings that I'm in, I could be accidentally triggering someone, and I just have to be cognizant of that. It's all about being a safe space, aligned, having an open line of communication, watching body language, and again, knowing that things do not need to look the way I would want them to look or the way I would do them in order for that person to feel safe, in order for that person to feel aligned and like they're making the right decisions for them and their soul. At the end of the day, I've always felt like birth is almost like a mini representation of all that life is. Like it's like a little mini example of life, of death, of the whole creation story in a little experience. Like it being this little journey, this little big bang in a moment means that it's going to be deeply nuanced and personal and subjective, and it's not always going to look standard or exactly the way we think it should or need it to. That is why I will always say that there is no one right way to give birth, no one right place to give birth, and no perfect way to give birth. There is just the way that is the right way for you and your soul and your life. And that is what you need to find within you and find within a provider that's going to encourage you to do that and have that. That's my soapbox. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I forgot to say bye. Don't know what happened there, but bye. I've been really good about uploading every Tuesday, so dare I say I'll see you next Tuesday? Oh my god. I didn't mean it like that.